Welcome, 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 everyone, to another amazing episode of Beyond Boardroom Business. I'm your host, Coach Stephanie, and tonight, all I have to say is tonight, you're going to be able to listen and hear from the guru himself, the soulful singer, Mr. E. Walter Smith. He's been in the game for over 35 years and he has so much to share with you all. So I know you all will enjoy this conversation as much as I will. So without further ado, let's bring on Mr. E. Walter Smith. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, Stephanie. How you doing? It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. Wow, it's been amazing. Yeah, time is flying, isn't it?
It's
Oh my
fine.
gosh.
It's fine. But
Yeah.
you're wearing it well.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
You as well. You as well.
Thank you.
So, without further ado, who is E. Walter Smith?
E. Walter Smith is a singer, songwriter, entertainer out of Cleveland, Ohio. I have been in the Atlanta area for some 3.5 decades now. The kind of music I do is love and romance. I'm a strong believer in happy endings and providing an environment where grandma and grandpa can bring granddaughter and grandson to any of my shows, press play on my music, and everybody have a good time. So that's pretty much who I am in a nutshell. The songs I've written have been on New York Times, about.com top 5 wedding list, and now hopefully will become the next Boots on the Ground with my new song She's Like, and the line dance we just choreographed that last week. So trying to stay current, but at the end of the day, it's all about the music and it's all about love and romance with me.
Yes, that's beautiful. Now, what got you started in singing, first of all?
That's an interesting question. When you look at the fact that I'm a Karamu kid, and essentially what that means is my parents met at Karamu House in Cleveland, Ohio, and Karamu House is arguably the oldest Black theater in the country. Oh. And so from the time they met to the time they conceived me, the whole idea of arts and entertainment has, been in my blood. And when I turned 10 years old, I sounded like this. My voice changed at 10. So that put a strong halt, to anything I wanted to do vocally in that environment. Picked up the bass guitar and started, playing in a rock and roll band. But it was during that time when I began to realize I had a deep speaking voice, but I had a real wide singing range. So I sang a lot of the background vocals and that kind of thing. And then it was spring of 1981. Driving around town, I'm at the stop sign, and I heard a brother go, "Love had played its games on me so long." I'm like, wait a minute, hold it. I can sing that. Yeah. Now, granted, that was 81, and Barry White had come out with his tunes before that. But I, Shaker Heights, Ohio, I wasn't always on the front edge of what was happening in R&B. And even though I went to school with Gerald Levert and Kim Whitley, we had different lives up there, So our access and our experience, was to a wide range of music and entertainment, what have you. But in 81, my senior year, One in a Million came out. I'm like, wait a minute, hold, I can put this bass guitar down and grab this mic and start singing One in a Million. And, so that came out. I started singing that, graduated from high school, and then went to Case Western Reserve, and then went to University of Akron and joined, their gospel choir. And at that point, they were looking for baritone basses. And that's how it kind of all started. Moved to Atlanta, and what really began to lock it in, I moved to Atlanta, and a guy named Creed Pennell founded the Weddings for Us bridal show. And it was a huge deal. He brought in Miss Bahamas, and it was a huge deal. And I just gave him a call and spoke to the producer, and they were like, "Yeah, come on in, because we're looking for like new talent." And so that's how that came about. And a guy named Mike Ferguson was also in town. He and we went to high school together, but he ultimately became Levert's music director. So he stayed at the house, and we went through my set for the bridal show, and it was really at that time when I was at the crossroads where it's like, okay, if you're gonna do this, you got to do it like you did become an All-American basketball player. You just got to do it. You got to be great at it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Know what had happened was. And Mike really, you know what I mean. And Mike really, let me have it because, like I said, he being music director for Levert, that's everybody from Gerald all the way up to Eddie. And yeah, you just, you don't play with that. So he didn't let me play with it, and he beat me to death. He beat me to death. And every time I grab the mic, I think of him. I think of Palmer Williams Jr., who plays Floyd on Tyler Perry's A House of Pain. I think of Little G, lead singer for Silk. He came through. My one of my old roommates, a guy named Big Tim Melkor. He was the head of security for Silk, TLC, Boys II Men, the Jacksons, everybody. And so a lot of times the groups would come through the house to pick them up or to rehearse or whatever. And, and I, grabbed, G one day and he wore me out, so I've been surrounded by a lot of great vocalists. Wow. And so it just kind of helped me to, fine tune what I'm doing. And so here we are today. Nowhere near as good as any of them, but I've kind of found my lane now, and I'm kind of doing my thing. So that's where it started, how we got here.
I think you're a wonderful singer. So I mean,
thank you. I'm the kind of singer. I don't do a lot of the runs and the riffs. I mean, I can, but I don't do a lot of that because, for all practical purposes, what I do, if I just deliver a strong vocal and tell a great story and make it entertaining, that's what's working for me. So if I need to throw a run in there, I can. But I do more of a stride than a run.
So your emphasis is on love and family. Now, why didn't you pick what society takes as the standard R&B music? Or is that considered the standard R&B music?
You really try to wrap your arms around what you really want to say. That was beautiful. Why don't I talk about baby coming here and like a family hour? A couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is that it was always very important for me to know that my parents and my family could feel proud in saying that my son is doing this. The whole E. Walter Smith, brand is me taking the torch from my grandfather, who was a tap dancer back in Cleveland. Whenever like Duke Ellington and Papa Hines would come to town, he would open for them, doing tap.
Wow.
And so, long story short, I decided to take his name on, at least the Walter part, and do my career. And so, the result of that, always wanted to be able to, have my, shows enjoyed by a broad audience and the music enjoyed by a broad audience. Love and romance is timeless at the end of the day. And it's just something that, I got from Lionel Richie that really resonated. At the end of the day, at some point, black, white, young, old, straight, gay, rich, poor, whatever your culture and ethnicity is, at some point, you're going to find somebody you love. At some point, he or she going to show up and it's going to be the one, if not forever, for the moment. And I've got the song just for you. And wow. So, from a catalog perspective and being able to have music solutions for movies and advertisers and TV shows and what have you, my catalog is one that's timeless. And from a profitability perspective, if you write a song like, for example, Little Girl, I wrote that just about 18 years ago now.
Wow.
And I can tell you, some father is holding on to his daughter for the first time. Some father is watching their daughter walk down the aisle, and some little girl is the Father's Day is always a time when a song like mine is something that gets airplay and gets played in homes because it celebrates the magic of the father-daughter relationship. And so love and romance and family just honors me to be able to do that. And I like telling those kind of stories because I came from an amazing family, and so it's pretty easy for me to kind of write those stories because it comes from my diary. So
And that's very beautiful because I was raised by my father. My mother and father divorced when I was 3. So all I
mm,
can really remember is my father raising me. And so that's really beautiful because I really appreciate what he has done for me. So, kudos to you. Now, can you explain the writing process? Do you write your own music?
yeah, great question. So I write my own songs. I don't
Okay.
write the music, but I write the songs, and what I mean by that
Mhm, mhm.
is I write the lyrics, I write the melody, and what
Mhm.
I do, I record that onto. Back in the day, I recorded into like one of those handheld, digital recorders,
Right.
and would send the tape to the producers. But now, you kind of record it online, and well, let me even back up. I write it with a pen on a
Ooh.
piece of paper.
Ooh.
So I have the full organic
Yeah.
experience of
Yeah.
creating that song. And then once that's done, like I'll record it and I'll send it to, whatever producer I want to work with, who then takes the song, throws it into their system and creates the music around it.
Mm.
So that's my process. And and along the way, as the new music is being created, there can be some collaborative efforts that, let's like harmonize here or modulate here or whatever the case may be. But at its core, my producers and co-writers get a full song that they just need
Mm.
to create music to. And
So,
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No. Well, I was going to say, I'd say all but one song was written like that. I wrote a song, um, "All My Love" with a guy named Guy Mitchell, where real
Mm.
cool story. So this is right around the Olympics, and I walked into a building in Pershing Points, right outside of Buckhead. And walking to the elevator, there's a brother in the elevator was having, man, how you doing? He goes, yeah, I'm just headed up to the studio. What kind of studio? Music studio. I'm a producer. Cool. Well, yeah, I got a minute. Let me hear what you got. And he played a track. And long story short, that was the first time I actually wrote to a track, and it's all my love, and it's on all the streaming networks, and it's a great song, and that was the only time I kind of wrote in reverse, but every other time, I write the song and hand it to the producers, and we collaborate from there.
Okay. So let's dissect a song, if you will. Now, when
Uh,
you write the song and you said you put pen to paper, are you trying to rhyme or do you get the concept of the story of the song or what inspires you to get started and complete it?
wow. You know, every songwriter will have a different answer that
Okay.
ultimately probably says the same thing. And the immediate knee jerk action is, I don't know, man. I just was hit with something, and I, just went ahead and wrote this thing. That's the truth of the matter. Now,
Yeah.
peeling back the onion on the truth, it can be it can be anything from, for example, when I wrote Little Girl, it was on the night that my sister and my brother-in-law, well, her husband, when they got married, and they were sitting around, and so they're gone. Me, mom, dad, my brother are just sitting around in the living room, and so dad starts doing this here, and mom goes, "What's on your mind, Walt? Go ahead and say it." So he goes, when your sister was born, I prayed that I would live long enough to be able to dance with her on her wedding day.
Oh,
So one of the lines in the song is just that. I prayed to live long enough to dance with you on your wedding day. So that's what inspired that. Um, Prior to that, when her fiance, well, at the time, but when her fiance, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And he's an amazing guy. I could not ask for a better brother-in-law. The
oh,
point of it is this. What inspired that was they met online. She was in Japan, he was in DC, and neither one of them thought they would ever get married.
What?
Yeah, yeah, and so there they were. So when I wrote First Dance for them, what inspired it was that story, and the final line of that song is, "I never dreamed I'd wear a wedding ring, but we just had our first dance." So it's that little spark that kind of allows me to, create a story around it. And the whole wedding day project is one where, I take the opening song is Front Row, where I write the song from the perspective of the honored guest and the family, finally coming, to see these two people come together. And I got tired of singing Sunrise, Sunset from Fiddler on the Roof and created my own song. And now Front Row is that, and so it goes on and on and on. When she's walking down the aisle, it's from the perspective of the groom at the aisle, telling him to take a step, and so, and then, I also write not only for fans, but for brands, so that, there's always another life that they can have, whereby, for example, really, I went overboard on purpose for this song, Take a Step, because I knew that you seldom hear about a groom talking about how fine his bride looks in that gown. And so when I wrote it from him standing at the altar and told her and then said, "Stop, I love your gown, turn around." Well, now if you make gowns, you can use my song, just a snippet of the
That's
bride.
right.
So a lot of what I do, has a um, uh, uh, has the opportunity whereby if a brand is trying to tell a story, again, I got timeless songs that will meet the need of whatever it is that you're talking about, and that's that's my process.
Right. The business of music. So
Yeah.
let's talk about contracts. How do you know if you're getting into a great contract? Do you just have to have an attorney to go over all of the details, or what is that about?
um Short answer is yes.
Okay.
Long answer is, the more knowledgeable you are just about the business side of music, the faster you're able to tell just right up front whether or not a contract is being put in front of you, whether or not an opportunity that's laying in your lap is one that is for you.
Okay.
In so many instances, a good deal is real specific to who you are, where you are, your point of career, and what's really important to you. And so many times it's not about the money.
Mm,
So many times it's about the experience, it's about the access, it's about the relationship, it's
yeah.
about the thing that it's aligned with. There's a ton of things that makes a good deal and makes a good contract. And so, depending on where you are and what the real issue at hand is, that begins to kind of set the tone. And then once it's established that it is at least a good opportunity to be considered, that's when you bring your attorneys in and your consultants in,
Okay.
kind of dot I's and cross T's. Um, and it's important to really recognize the importance of looking out for yourself, because within the creative arts, there are so many creative ways for things to go wrong. And,
Yeah.
and you don't always win, but a lot of times, um, you do have to take those extra steps to make sure that that some of that works out for you. I had a great opportunity, a great deal that was amazing. Then I
Mm,
took it to the attorney, and they redlined it, and I took it back to the opportunity, and they disconnected their phone. They Folks
whoa.
got fired. Yeah, because I ultimately exposed
Yeah.
what just wasn't right,
Mm,
and that was 7 8 years ago, and only recently have things kind of come back full circle, and now we're good, and but yeah, I mean, and I think the other thing too, and I don't want to be long winded, but it's a very important point, and and artists need to know this. Um, at the end of the day, when you're doing good business, it might not be embraced as good business because the business at that particular moment might not actually be able to be conducted because there's some things that need to be tweaked.
Yes.
But your reputation is such that he does good business.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want your brand to be one that is respected and is recognized as being of quality, and that where anybody that's looking to bring you on board and work with you knows two things. One, that you won't jeopardize their reputation, and two, you won't compromise their credibility.
Mm,
And if can be looked upon in that light, you at least have a chance, for other opportunities. And so that
okay.
the contract will help you to kind of navigate what all that needs to look like along the way.
Understood. So let's talk about the music industry. Recently, Angie Stone was giving us a lot of different details about what was going on with her contracts. How can, or is it just an attorney? How can people avoid falling into those pitfalls?
That's a classic example of what I was saying earlier from the standpoint of what was good at the time.
Okay.
And again, I don't know the ins and outs of that, and so I can't even begin to speak to her situation specifically. But
Okay.
generally, I can say this, and you'll see more and more of this moving forward. I know Goldman Sachs just did an article on this, and I speak to that from this perspective. Whatever she did when she signed that contract at the time gave her an opportunity to have a career,
Yeah.
gave her an opportunity to be recognized, to tour, and to, if nothing else, I'm assuming make money on tour.
Okay.
And you follow what I'm saying? So it put her in a position where she had a legitimate argument about the money that that she would make from airplay, from sales, excuse me, what have you, what was worthy of a real serious conversation. And so I say all to say this, that at the time that she signed that contract, I'm pretty sure she felt that if nothing else, that was a good thing for her to do right then and there. If she had brought attorneys to the table and what have you, they might have been able to negotiate things where she'd have been able to tour and do all that she was able to do, as well as get some of this back end money. But it might have halted her career altogether. And so you kind of have to make a decision as to what's more important and what is the real opportunity. I mean, even going back to the situation that I had a great opportunity. And did the attorneys kill that deal? It could be argued that they did. If I had a chance to do it all over again, would I do it the same way? Pretty sure I would, particularly knowing that what's happening now, years later,
Yeah.
it's just like, commas and zeros are the difference now compared to what we were talking about then. So, time value of money, I don't want to get all into the weeds, but every deal is different. Every situation is different. 9 times out of 10, you're in a better place if you bring the attorneys to the table. And I guess more than anything, Stephanie, it's important to have both parties on the same page, really fighting for a win-win kind of situation. Because if you get that, you can have a win-win situation, and then the attorneys just kind of dot the i's and cross the t's. And so that negotiation and that contract, what have you, it just solidifies the character of the
Understood.
people that are entering into it. So
Okay.
yeah.
So if I can sing and I can write.
Right.
How how difficult or how challenging is it to become successful? Because you're saying a person needs to have an attorney. What if a person cannot afford an attorney? I mean, does that mean that their opportunity is shot, or is there a way when you have the talent?
So that's an amazing question. And the first thing you've got to do is embrace what your definition of success is.
Mm,
It's
yes.
critical. That's
Yeah.
critical, particularly in this day and age when social media
Whew.
gives you an impression of success that might not be everything that it looks like that it is.
Okay.
That being said, um, some people flat out don't want the same kind of success that some artists have, because with success comes a
Yes.
lot of other stuff that they just might not want to fool with. And so once you define what success is, it really helps you to fine tune how you go about attaining that, achieving that. And so um, if you're a great singer, got great talent, and you want to do live shows,
Hmm.
then that's the path that you go. You know, you go online and you do a search for concert promoters and event planners. Say, hey,
Hmm.
listen, I want to sing, blah 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 blah, and you negotiate what works for you. If success is you just want to make a lot of money and you want to have sync deals and publishing deals, then you write and sing and you call music supervisors and audio supervisors, and promote your stuff like that. So it all depends on what it is that you're trying to do. But at the end of the day, once you've done that, crafting that blueprint is very easy, and we won't even get into AI as
Oh,
as to how that will turn what was literally a nightmare scenario of putting a plan together to something that you can do while on hold trying to pay your water bill. You know what I mean? I mean,
wow.
you learn how to embrace AI and all that comes with it, because
It's here.
it's here, and if you don't, others will. And
Yes.
let me change it. If you don't, others have, others
Ooh.
are,
Mhm.
and you don't want to be left behind because you refuse to understand how to prompt Gemini. You know,
Right. Good
you,
point. Great. Is there anything that um, you can give us information on that I haven't asked you about as far as the entertainment industry?
so I, I would say this, right off the bat, and we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. To thine self be true.
Hmm.
What God has given you is for you.
Yes.
What God has given you is for you.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is that your friends and your family might try to push you to do things that just aren't in your heart. And what I mean for you is I'm talking about that thing that wakes up with you in the morning, that thing that you go to bed with at night, that thing that you wake up in the middle of the night dreaming about, that inspiration that you get during that dream that you had, where you don't want to get out the bed to write it down, but the last time you didn't get out of bed, you forgot what it was and you're furious. So it forces you to get up and just keep a hook book right by your bed, and the pen, that's what I'm talking about. Things that are for you. And then once you've embraced what's for you, it's then really just a matter of, seriously, I mean, in this day and age, you can literally go to Gemini and say, listen, I just woke up out of this dream, and this is what was on my mind. And so what do you think I need to do to
Wow.
complete this, to pull a band together, to do a marketing campaign, to find
Wow.
an agent? I mean, you just put all that in there.
Yeah.
And Gemini will say, great idea. And
It sure does.
and next thing you know, you've got an amazing blueprint really of all your ideas just kind of massaged and tweaked and rolled down for you. And so there you go. So I would say absolutely embrace the technology that you have available in the palm of your hand on
Mhm.
your phone. And then
Yeah.
from there, in doing that and following through and watching the careers and following the careers of those that resonate with you, learning from their mistakes, gaining access to their audiences, uh, having the courage to contact them or those like them, saying what it is that you're doing and how you just flat out just want to be down. You'd be surprised, Steph, how many folks actually respect. A lot of folks call people that are really, about their dream and going for it. They'll call them thirsty and all sorts of the kind of stuff. Ultimately, you'll be calling them paid because they did everything that you didn't do, and they got
Mm,
there. And
mm.
you feel me? And,
Yes.
and that's what and there's so many. There's so many stories that speak to that. Um, but if you move forward in that fashion, then you'll be okay. Understand that the audience is right. The audience is right.
That's right. They
Not
are.
you. Not you. The
That's
audience is
that's
right.
true. That's true.
So the audience is right, and you've not really made it until you found out. Hmm,
Mm.
maybe the audience is right. You know, maybe the audience is right. Maybe that didn't work like I thought it would. And but that should be a moment of growth, of stooping to conquer, as opposed to just squashing you and you dying. And being authentic is also very important. Um,
Mm.
if I were to show up, um, if I were to show up as anyone, I'll say it like this: if I were to show up as anyone other than E. Walter Smith, I ain't fooling nobody. It ain't gonna work.
That's
And
true.
you
True.
know, and so being authentic and true to yourself, that's
That's
that's that's very important as well. So
that's true. I love it. I mean, when I see your videos, I see your dance. I'm like, that's me.
see, that's me. That's so somebody called one of my lyric videos. She goes, it's so corny. Everybody's happy. Everybody's smiling.
What's
Yeah,
wrong?
have you hung out with me? Remember, I'm always happy, pretty much always smiling. That's how I do me. The doom and gloom, the other options that I had available.
Yeah.
Pass on that because that's just not my vibe. So
And
you
it's
know,
enough of that out there. We need different. We need E.
there you go. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Well,
How can
absolutely.
people find you?
E. Walter Smith ewaltersmith.com, and then E. Walter Smith on all the social media platforms. Just TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Just type in E. Walter Smith
Okay.
and put your seatbelt on because
I know.
you're gonna go on a journey.
You're
And
in
that's
for a ride.
there you
Yes.
go.
Yes. I love it. I would love for you to come back in a couple
Oh,
of months. You
absolutely,
can share.
absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely. And can I give a quick plug just on
you.
my
Yeah.
current project? Okay.
Yes.
So my new song out is called She's Like. It's a story of, boy meets girl, girl likes boy, boy tells the world about, and girl says, yeah, la 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 la. And it's 4 minutes of 96 beats per minute of just magic. We've got a line dance that was just choreographed by Jennifer Melkor, who did choreography for SWV, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, TT Melkor, who's head choreographer right now for Glorilla. So I'm spanning all the generations, and it's a great, simple, but yet very flexible kind of line dance that again grandma could do it with the little baby to learn how to walk, and then put your own thing on there, and looking to do some big things with that. So it's She's Like. The music, when you go to ewaltersmith.com, the pop up will take you right to the lyric video. lyric video is amazing. Embracing all the cultures, and you'll see. I'm not going to steal his thunder. Go check it out. And also one final thing: make sure that you join my VIP club. Join the VIP club because it gives you access to just a lot of the things that we're doing, a lot of different shows, a lot of different experiences, and it also gives an opportunity for you to bring your expertise and your talent and your energy to something that's kind of taken off. So make sure you join the VIP club. There's no cost to it right now, and it's just a way for me to kind of build a community.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do to build a international community of like-minded folks that don't mind meeting folks that don't have the same thoughts and views that they've got, but we'll give them a chance that maybe they can catch up. And now, and now you got something really cool going on. So join that. And but once you go to ewaltersmith.com, it all is laid out in front of you.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. And I look forward to the next interview with you.
Oh, as do I. And Stephanie, just let me say this, you have been an amazing, amazing part of so many lives. And this particular song was first done at one of your birthday parties. And so it was, when I saw that I had the opportunity to be a part of this, kind of brought things full circle because the song has evolved, but it actually, the first time I sang it was at your birthday party. And,
Wow.
and your smile was as bright then as it is now. And you just have a radiance that people continue to, be attracted to. And I just want to, congratulate you on your success and all that you've done. And I know that, Coach Stephanie will continue to do her thing, for years to come. I know the best is yet to come. And I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Thank you so much. I
Absolutely.
truly appreciate that. You're the best, E. You're the best.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that episode. I mean, it's just amazing. Make sure you check out ewaltersmith.com and make sure you join his VIP club and just sign up. And I'm sure you won't be disappointed because he's been in the game too long. He knows what's going on, and he can definitely tantalize your listening skills with his beautiful voice. And I look forward to listening to whatever he has coming out next. So thank you all for joining Beyond Boardroom Business tonight. I hope you all enjoyed it. And until the next time, which is every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, stay prayerful, stay patient, and stay present. I look forward to seeing and hearing from you all soon. Take care.